There's something in the notes that says, don't forget to record. So just in case you're supposed to record, I've done that
Just
so many
started.
times and you're like, oh
Yes, I just
my gosh.
started. Whenever I stopped talking, I was like, and record.
All right, perfect. You guys are so sweet. Thank you. Yes, I still have that bottle of champagne. I don't know why I can't bring myself to open it. It's now 7 years old because it was our 35th anniversary and now we're 42 years old, right? So we'll always know how old that bottle is. But so funny, I'll never forget that for Parade of Champions. I guess I forgot that's how we actually met the first time ever. So super fun. Sometimes that feels like yesterday and sometimes that feels like a million years ago. So so fun to relive some of those memories. But you guys, I am so excited to just be here with you guys. I wish that we were all sitting in a living room snuggled up like we were at that retreat talking about how you can turn your placentas into pills before it was the cool thing to do, because that's my favorite thing, is just to be belly to belly with people and talk about real life and get to know people. And I'm so grateful that so many people in your success line allowed us to do that when we were starting Arbonne, because we didn't have a lot of upline here close to us. And so Mama Shelly and Carlita and so many others allowed us to come and sit literally in our pajamas in their living rooms at their retreats. And it's a reason why in a really hard time in my business, I stayed, because you guys, relationship in this business is so important. And so when Lauren asked me to share, and there's not like a specific topic, I'm a story girl and I love just to share from the heart. So I'm just going to do that. And I'll just throw in some like life tips about business and life and mom and wife and all of those things as we go, because that's what I think makes this business so special, right? We could do all the nuts and bolts trainings that we wanted to, but you guys, that's available. It's on the source. You can go find it. And before I go any farther, I'll tell you that you can find anything that I talk about as far as income and potential at earnings.arbonne.com, so you can see what's possible for you and your family. But you guys, my journey starts almost 16 years ago with Arbonne. I can't believe that it's been that long that I have been here. I feel like every single person in Arbonne has probably heard my boring story, and then I forget, no, like every year there's hundreds and thousands of new consultants. And so I'll just keep telling the same story for the old timers and the new timers. But you guys, I was a hard no. I was like the mean girl at the presentation that you run into and you're like, oh my gosh, she's here. Like the crossed arms, the I'm too good for this. I have a real job. I'm just here to buy something to help her out. You guys, that was 100% me when I heard about this business. And so I was a hard no to my dear friend. We were doing only home parties at that point. And so I hosted something for her via, like give me samples, because she was in California and I was in Illinois. So like I couldn't even do a real home party. I was like, send me samples. And so I was just mean to my girlfriend. And I actually am really grateful that that's who I was, because it gives me a level of grace and patience with mean people that actually have a lot of potential. And I wasn't really mean. I was like in my heart mean on the outside, like, oh, I'm so happy for you. But we can read them, right? We know who they are. You walk in a room and you know who the people are that are like, get me out of here. And it becomes my goal and my joy to try to break down those people, not even so much that they join the business, but just so that they better understand what I now understand. You guys, I don't need everybody to join me in this business, but man, is it nice to walk into a room and know that some people are against you. And when you leave, they're actually for you and your industry. To me, that's a win, because that's building Arbonne. That's helping all of us. And so I see this as so much bigger than just convincing people to join the team, but to join an opened mindset of, wow, there's a lot of things outside of what I was raised to know in 9 to 5 and traditional business and entrepreneurship, and what that looks like and how this really supports families and moms and how you can grow. And so I'm thankful that my story started as somebody who said absolutely no. My no, because my girlfriend was amazing. She sent me the samples. I bought the baby products. I had a 2-year-old and a 2-month-old at the time that I was introduced to Arbonne. And so I bought the ABC baby care. And she just kept dripping on me. My friend Heather, who ironically is not in this business anymore, she would have a several $1 million success line with 14 NVPs in her organization if she had stayed, but she chose not to. And that's okay too, because I will forever be grateful that my husband was her husband's roommate in college, and that's how we met. And so I know that it was for a season and for a reason that she said yes to get to our yeses, because it was for us that Arbonne was brought into her life. And so I'm forever grateful for that. You guys, but when I was a hard no, she saw my sister who was 19 going to college. And I'm going to tell you right now, that was not who I was looking for when I started my business. I would not have been looking for 19-year-old broke girls that were moving away to college. This was before Instagram. This was before Facebook. This was like when you called your mom on your dorm phone, right? And she saw something in Danielle that she decided, well, if Nikki's going to be a no, then I'm going to go talk to her sister, Danielle. And you guys, Danielle was a yes. Danielle knew nothing about network marketing. She knew nothing about all the negative stuff that I had in my head about what this was that my friend got sucked into. And so she said yes because she wanted to make a couple $100s a month as a college student. And so as a great sister, I signed her up direct. Well, I didn't sign her up. I was just adamant that I would never sign up. And so I said, no, I promise you, I will never, ever do Arbonne. Just please sign my sister up direct to you. And so they did. My sister is Executive National Vice President Danielle Laver. At 19, she signed up. She got an ID. And 6 months later, I did the thing that I said I would never do, and I got an ID. And unfortunately, I was under Danielle. Danielle wasn't under me. But again, you guys, that's how it was supposed to be. Like, people say, oh, does that make you so mad? Like, every once in a while when we talk about paychecks, I'm like, oh, shoot, I really should have said yes first. But you guys, again, this is exactly how it was supposed to be. We have gone through hard times in Arbonne. Danielle and I have together. We've been through ups and downs. And the beautiful thing about how God has protected us in this business is when I'm in a really bad place, Danielle has been in a really good place. And one of our really bad places, Danielle had turned Arbonne into her #1 source of income, and she had no option but to stay. You guys, I believe that if I would have been above Danielle, I would have probably walked and she probably would have gotten a 9-to-5 job. And so again, I believe that how it happened is exactly how it was supposed to happen. And we have the most amazing success line. She went from a 19-year-old shy college girl to a now 36-year-old mom of 5 who has turned into a wicked businesswoman, who went from me driving to her parties to help her check people out because she'd call me crying in the bathroom. Before I was a consultant, I would drive to her presentations to help her check people out because she couldn't calculate taxes and all the things, to now watching her train as a main stage trainer at GTC. You guys, this business grows us. And so I became a consultant under Danielle. She was a college student. I was a young mom with 2 kids working full time. I had a design and architecture firm. I loved my job, but I didn't love the juggle that I was balancing. Like I owned my own business because I did. It meant I had my own bills and my own studio and my own clients, but it meant I took my own kids with me to my studio because I thought I had it all. And really, I started to realize I had some freedoms and some flexibilities, but I was always stressed. I was always feeling like I wasn't a good businesswoman. I was always feeling like my kids had been in their 5-point harness car seats in my office watching Elmo for like 4 hours. I was putting towels under the door on conference calls so that nobody could hear that I had kids, right? Welcome to 2021 when it's totally normal to have kids, dogs, parrots, whatever you have on your work call. Like, that would have been nice a decade ago. But I was trying to pretend to be this really successful business person that didn't have 2 kids in the other room, and also feeling like, man, I just don't feel like I'm showing up for my kids the way I always thought this would look. And so that's when I said yes to Arbonne. You guys, it wasn't because I was obsessed with skincare. There really was no nutrition when I started. So to any of you that think, oh, Arbonne is so hard, like, do it without nutrition. That's my challenge to you. Build a business on skincare and makeup alone, right? And then you'll be like, oh, this is actually awesome in 2021. But I wasn't really a skincare junkie. I used cheap brand Walmart fallback prices, great value. Like that just wasn't important to me. What was important to me was things like curtains and couches and different things. That's where I spent my money. And so I wasn't really passionate about the products. I loved them. I knew they worked, but I was really passionate about an opportunity that I saw that I didn't know that it would work for me, but I knew that it could work for others. And so I just did the scary thing and said yes and just bet on myself. And you guys, that's such an important step in this journey. If you are still in that floundering stage of it works for so many people, I was just doing a DA and, results not typical. If you're a region or a nation, you're in the top 2%. But you guys, I have to stress over and over and over, the statistics don't work in a way that you shove 100 people into a room and randomly two get popped out the other side of the door as the top 2%. That's not how this works. This is of people who choose to work. Those are the ones that come out the other side of the door that are the percentage that's higher than those that can't, do it, that can't handle the rejection, that can't figure out how to get over themselves, that can't dream big and grow their vision and be coachable. It's not like just randomly, if there's 200 of us on here, only 6 of us are going to be successful. That's not how it works. You guys, you get to choose which percentage you're going to align yourself in. You choose. Now, does it mean that it's going to happen in the same time for you that it does for me? Not necessarily. I was really slow. Like it took me 11, I don't know. My whole story is just one big jumbled mess. I don't know, maybe 8 years to get to nation the first time. You guys, I went region, I lost region. I got my region back. I went nation, I lost my nation. I had a nation pass me. I got my nation back. Like I have no idea what year any of it happened. And that's another little hidden gem because in the midst of my fetal position crying in the bathroom. We'll talk about that in a second. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's really important. I swore in that moment, I will never, ever forget the day, the hour, the time that my world fell apart. I can't even tell you what year that was. I really don't even know. What seems like such tragedy in the moment, when we just remove ourselves and, as Rita says, put our big girl panties on and get back to work. In 5 years from now, if you've arrived where you intended to be, you don't really care which pothole you were stuck in and for how long you were there. All you care about is that you got out and you finished the race, right? And so when I said yes to Arbonne, and I started doing that, I did it with a lot of pride. I was like, I don't really know that I love skincare. I don't really know that I believe in network marketing. I read the income summaries. I knew where I wanted to be. I kind of wanted to have a Mercedes Benz just so I could told you so to people without having to say told you so. I was like, that's a really easy way to show that you're successful without having to be successful and tell them, because if you just start driving a Mercedes Benz, they know that something's working. And so I came in with this determination and goal of I'm going to get to regional vice president, partially because I'm just going to prove it to the world because I'm a 3 Enneagram, period, as strong as they come in both the healthy ways and the unhealthy ways. And so I was like, I'm just going to run over everybody until I get there. And then I'm going to drive around in my car and wave at everybody. And then I'm just going to sit back and retire because I will have arrived. And that's a horrible mindset. And that's maybe why I lost some titles. I did exactly that. You guys, I pushed to region. We did it. Results not typical in 16 months. And I did it pushing for sales and pushing for product and not for building relationship, not for casting vision, not for reading a single personal development book the entire time I was racing to just get people to sign up and buy products. But we hit the numbers, right? I was so goal oriented that we did anything we had to do to get the numbers to do that 40, 40, and 40. And you guys, we never hit those numbers again after I promoted because I thought I had arrived. I was like, I did what I came here to do. The second we got there, I kind of pulled back. I thought, well, this is awesome for Nikki Smith and company, and we're going to go have a mimosa. And 3-4 months later, when we lost our region and I wondered where all of the team went and why I felt so whoa, this doesn't feel good. I have to do it all again. You guys, I was in a bad spot. And I spent 6 years, I called it a pothole. It really is more like the Grand Canyon. So in the fetal position in the Grand Canyon, like poor meing myself to death for 6 years. Like for those of you that are good with math, you can have like 8 or 9 babies in that time. And you know how long it feels like you're pregnant with a baby. I was in the fetal position crying about my life for like 8 pregnancies worth of time. That's embarrassing. So if I can encourage any of you, it would be don't stay there for longer than you need to. Like give yourself a day. I mean, shoot, give yourself a week if you have to, but don't stay in a place of despair and poor me and this is too hard and I just don't have what it takes to do this anymore. I did a training this morning for the VPs on our team about, I mean, you guys, it's 2021. We've had a wild ride the last 12 months. Like it's been crazy. And a lot of us are saying things like, I'm tired. And you guys, I don't think we're tired. Tired, you can go take a nap and you can wake up tomorrow and you're not tired. There are a lot of weary souls right now because there's a lot of things that are taking a lot of our energy, a lot. We're doing a lot of things that we've never done. We're filtering through a lot of information. There's a lot of feelings. There's a lot of stuff. And we have the choice to stay in a place of having a weary soul and being okay with that, or doing the things we need to do to fix the weariness. And it doesn't happen overnight, but it's a choice and it's a progress and it's a process, and it starts with choosing joy. Like that's the reality of how I've gotten through this business is I've had to get over myself over and over and over. And a lot of times it's come from my husband looking at me and saying, at what cost are you willing to build this business? Like, really? This is what we dreamed about? This is who you are? Because all it is about a title, and you're going to pour me yourself on the bathroom floor because, you know, you promoted a nation and you're not a nation. Like your goal was to be a region and you have a huge success line and you promoted a nation and you're going to get a nation back. And you guys, it's so easy to lose perspective of why we started. And I think we have an obligation to ourselves and to our teams and to our downlines. And if you're a newer consultant, to not attach ourselves to titles and to accomplishments, because you know what? They never stop. That's one thing that I love about Arbonne. It's something that pains me as an achiever type 3. Like, the reason I do really well in like some fundraising situations and stuff, I've always said the reason I was able to really get behind the Haiti auction fundraiser, if you guys were around forever ago when that happened, actually 5 years ago today, was when we did that first fundraiser. But I like to know that this is the beginning and this is the end number. It's like going nation or going region. Like I work well, start and stop, right? And that's really important. But in Arbonne, you guys, there's really no stop, because you want to go area. So you go area and then you're like, oh, I've got like, I could be a region. And so then you go region and then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a loser. I need to go nation. And then you go nation and then you're a barely maintaining nation. And you're like, I'm the lowest of the nations. And then you're a good, strong nation. And then you only have 2 directs. And there's people that are getting mugs that are like 5 wide, or Cecilia, like really 12 wide? Like at what point do you need to stop so that we can catch up? Like seriously, give us a day, right? Sometimes I want to text her and be like, see, go to the beach. Like just give us a minute before you get the 13th. It's annoying. But she's one of my favorite people and I'll chase her all day long. But it's like, it's always something else. And so when we put our worth or our value in an achievement, we're always going to be dissatisfied. We're always going to be struggling with contentment. And you guys, I want to challenge you to get to the point that I had to get in that 6-year desert, where I had to be okay to say, Lord, I am so content with where you have me. Content does not mean complacent. I am so content with where you have me because I know that there's something to learn here. Like it may not be what I want to learn. It may not be the way I want to learn it, but I am going to be content where I am and do well with where I am, but never be complacent. Complacent makes you lazy. Complacent makes you say, I'm not going to pick up the phone. Complacent makes you say, well, I mean, I'm at least a bonusing area. So it's not even like I'm just doing 10, I'm doing 20. So I'm just going to stay here because region feels hard. And I'm like a high promoting, like I'm doing well as an area, like that's complacency. Complacency is the moment that you start making excuses to not do your best, to not be your best, and not to show up as your best for other people who literally are running because they need opportunities like this. That's complacency. And so just to get to that point in my business all day, every day, even now, you guys, I think sometimes the higher up you get in the company, the more comparison there can be. And just every day I wake up in a place of I'm so grateful. I'm so content with where God has me, but I am never gonna stop. I don't even like the word grind because that just has like this, I don't know, MLM term to it, but I'm just never gonna stop doing the next right thing. And the next right thing is picking up the phone, sharing the opportunity, telling about the products, loving on your team, sending the card, getting to know people, encouraging somebody, putting on us, like just always doing the next best thing. Because when I was so miserable after losing my region and being so caught up in a title, I stopped doing all the other good things. I stopped smiling at people. I stopped sharing the business. It was so self-focused. It was so poor me. You guys, I think one of your leaders actually talks about it all the time. I think it's Shelly, who always says pride and humility, or pride and meekness, they come from the same place. They're so not the word meekness, because that's actually a good biblical trait, but you know what I mean? Like being so shy and like, I'm so reserved, or it's all about me. They're both coming from a place of it's all about me. And in this business, when you can get to a place of it's so not about me, it's so not about me. I'm just really, really fortunate. I feel so unbelievably fortunate that I get to be the driver in my Arbonne vehicle, that I'm the one that gets to decide, am I going to put it in park or am I going to keep driving? Am I going to keep it on the back roads or am I going to go all out and go on the highway and go on the journey and like go do the thing? We get to choose how we use, yes, thank you, pride and insecurity. Like we get to choose what we do with it. And so you guys, I had to just make probably the most annoying thing that anybody will ever tell you in your Arbonne journey. If you're back in the days when we used to go to GTC and we used to all be together, and like some nations would be like, your job for the week is to ask every single national vice president that you see their top tip, right? And so people come up to you and they're like, I'm supposed to ask what my top tip is. And I remember doing that as like an area, and everybody, so many people would say, you just have to make the decision. It annoyed the crap out of me. I'm going to be serious, you guys. There is nothing more annoying. I'm like, I'm in Vegas. I have $1,000 on my credit card for my plane ticket and my I want it all. And you're going to tell me to decide? Like, what do you think I did? Just dropped out of an airplane into Vegas? It just annoyed me. But I realized now that my answer is decide. Like, you have to decide. But you guys, the part that they didn't tell us was, you have to decide every single day. You don't just get to choose to decide that you can do it at GTC or at the awesome retreat that your upline throws for you, or that one time that you listen to a Goal for Gold that gets you motivated, or Debbie Neal says something and you're like, I decided. Like, that's not what it's about. It's about like, today I'm deciding to do my daily, we call it daily methods for success. I'm doing my reach outs. I'm doing my follow outs. I'm doing my asking. I'm doing my affirmations. I'm reading my book. And then guess what you have to do tomorrow? So boring. You have to do it again and again and again and again. And you never get to stop. And that's how you decide to become successful. And I had always done it where like I ride the emotions and it feels good and I'm going to do it. And then shoot, I have to keep doing it. I don't know if I have the energy for that. You guys, just make the decision to do it and the feelings will follow. Do not listen to your feelings in building this business. Feelings will lie to you every single day. Every time you get to know your feelings will lie to you, they will be hurt and they will tell you it's not worth it. You have to just push past the feelings because they will eventually come. I promise you. And so time flies when you're having fun talking about Arbonne. So that, so basically having to just make those decisions to get back into the activity, to get the region back, to promote an amazing group of women that came from that month of that decision to get out of the fetal position, and to have now, I don't know, I think we have 10 or 13 regions and 2 nations, and we've got 2 more coming up. And when I look back and I think about, if you would have told me just 7 years ago, Nikki, you're going to be an executive national vice president and you'll have an amazing success line, and these different things that have happened in our life would happen, I would say, no, I think you have the wrong Nikki Smith. Like, there's a lot of them. I think you have the wrong one. But you guys, what you make of this business can change in a year. Like, you could be in a drastically different place in a year. I went from a struggling area to a promoted nation in 13 months. And it's because I changed a lot about what I was telling myself. It's because I changed how I was attracting people into my business. It's because I got to a place of contentment with what was already given to me, because why would I be given more if I wasn't grateful for what I have? Like, there's some solid documentation to back up that theory, right? Like, if I'm not grateful for what I have right here in front of me and I'm crying about it, why would I be given more? You guys, it's so important that we recognize that the things we have today are probably things that we prayed for a year ago, and yet we're so dissatisfied today with where we're at. We don't do enough recognizing how far we've come. And so I want to encourage you guys, if you feel defeated in your business right now, take time tonight and just write down the things that are good that have already happened, the people who already are in your business, the promotions you have already had, the paychecks that already have been deposited, right? There's a lot in this business that's good that we don't even recognize as good in the moment because we're so future focused. And so with that, I want to end with just a little tiny piece on vision, because I think that this is probably the key for me. Before deciding, you have to decide to do the do, because without doing the do, we can dream and have all the visions we want, and they're just fun fairy tales. But when you really want your dreams and your vision to be your real life, like, how do you get there? You guys, okay, you have to work. You have to be authentic. You have to be consistent. Like, those are just the given. We're not going to talk about the, what it looks like, but you have to show up. You guys have a system. You know what to do. But I really think one of the things that changed biggest for me in my life was I started to have long-term vision. I was very focused for so many years on 30, 60, 90, right? Everything that we talk about in Arbonne is 30, 60, 90, because we can promote in that time frame. It's like good goal settings. And so I really struggled to ever look beyond the 30, 60, 90. And let me tell you why it's so important. 30, 60, and 90 is business planning. It's business. That is not dream board. That is business planning. That's like, this is the short-term goals that I have for my business. And I'm going to do that 4 times a year. And that's my year business plan, right? You guys, what you need a long-term vision for is, because when things don't go how you want them to go, which, newsflash, A, you're working with humans, they're going to disappoint. B, you're in a business, and every business has ebbs and flows. If you only ever look at 30, 60, 90, when disappointment comes your way, it will take you out of the game. And what should feel like a road bump is going to feel like a complete detour. Because if your whole goal and your whole life is obsessed with, I have to promote in these 90 days, and you don't get there, then you feel like you failed. But the difference is when you take this 30, 60, 90 vision and you open it up. I always say the minimum is 60 months, like a minimum 5 years. I go 10 years. 10-year vision for your life, not just your business, for your life. All of a sudden, when the 30, 60, and 90 feels like a hiccup, it's exactly that. It's a hiccup, because you're like, no problem. I've got 9 years and 9 months left to get where I need to be. Or I've got 5.5 years. And when you realize how long that is, it's so important. The example I always give my team is, if an 18-year-old came to me, I happen to have one, and said, I want to have $1 million in my retirement by 45. And at 44, that kid came to me and said, I am so discouraged. I should have never started doing it. I only have $975,000 in my account and I wanted $1 million. What would you say to that kid? You'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, You have $975,000 saved because you had a goal of having $1 million. And the kids that had no goals and no vision at 18, they might not even have a 401k. They might have nothing. And we do that to ourselves all the time in Arbonne. Then month ends and we're all like, oh, poor me. I ended at 36,000. I didn't hit region. And we're like in a pile of tears. And you're like, oh my gosh, but you were at 25 last month. Like, look how far you've come. And we need to change that mindset. And so I'm going to challenge you guys with this. This is pretty vulnerable. I've never shared this outside of my success line before. So I must really like the Nelsons. But I've been working on this a lot because as I get older, I'm 43. And so 10-year visions start to be like, oh my gosh, you're getting old. So my 10-year vision now, you guys, I'm a 53-year-old woman. I'm a grandma in that vision. And that's so weird, but it is literally what makes me in the morning go, game on, girl. It's time to get up. It's time to grind. It's time to have joy. It's time to be consistent. It's time to be content and find the good. Because every single day I read my 10-year vision of where I'm at 10 years from now. And so I'm going to read it to you guys so that you know where Nikki Smith and her family are going to be in 10 years, which is 2031. I'm 43 now. I'm going to be 53 then, and my husband's going to be 54. And I challenge you guys. This is vulnerable. It's kind of hard to write sometimes, but it is the thing that keeps me going every single day. Let me read it for you. I love being retired with Jed at the lake house that we have built. It is everything we dreamed it would be, with room for all of our kids and their kids to be here at once. The home gym and spa are dreamy, and we love spending time daily investing in staying in the best shape of our lives. We love to exercise together, cook and eat nutritious foods, and we are still madly in love with one another. I love sitting on the back porch overlooking the lake and seeing a dock that is lined with ski boats and fishing boats and jet skis and pontoons and all of the toys that the kids and the grandkids love to use. We love having the kids and other friends and family at the house in the guest quarters to enjoy this amazing place and all it has to offer. Our kids are thriving in their careers and are living freely because of no college debt and good habits that they have created, a direct reflection of watching us grow over the last decades. Our children love the Lord, they love their spouses and their children, and they find great joy in being with family. Jed and I love traveling freely to help them as they travel, as they go on adventures, and as they transition in careers and bring new babies into the world. We love the ability to go when and where we are needed. Living a life of freedom is what we always dreamed it would be. My business does $10 million in success line volume every month. My 6 direct nations are my dearest friends, and we are partnered together to change lives and build legacy businesses for our families. We love serving others, and our organization is built on a foundation of service and integrity. We have trained ourselves to show up as leaders and never become complacent solely because we have reached our goals. The 4 books that I read every single month are filling up the new beautiful 2-story bookcase that we built in the study at the lake. My investment in personal growth is a solid daily habit that comes without effort and yields unbelievable reward. I love being disciplined and living my life on purpose. My eyes are set on eternal treasures and not just the things of this earth that we have been blessed with. I get excited to write the massive check every single month to help others in need and to make an impact in areas that are important to us. Giving is truly one of our greatest joys. I wake up with gratitude, and I am looking ahead to the opportunities that God has for us. I am committed to staying the course and living my life full out. I know the best is yet to come. You guys, when you now my husband has read this, my kids have read it. I mean, I don't recommend that if you're not going to do it. But how do you not get up? How do you not pick up the phone? How do you not just decide to re-promote? How do you not book the event? How do you not share the story? Like, how? This is all available. This is 100% attainable. It's up to me. Do I show up or do I give up? That is the choice we have to ask ourselves every single day in this business, you guys. I challenge you with it. We all have our stories. Some are good, some are bad, some are hard. They are our stories for a reason. And I would not change my valleys for anything, because you do not learn lessons on the mountaintops, you guys. Mountaintops are for fun and celebrating. Leadership, character, quality growth happens in the valleys. Pray for valleys in your business, because that is where you will grow and God will mold you into the leader that he wants you to be. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to you, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Seriously, I like all of it. If I could show you our group chat of the people just going nuts in my nation, but everybody, you can see it. I mean, like the whole time, I love how real you are. I love, like I said in the beginning, that you're a truth teller, and that's what everybody recognized, because we need to hear that. And it's not like the rah, rah, rah. You just go from mountaintop to mountaintop. I love what you just said. Pray for those valleys, because that's where growth happens and where we're going to be molded into the leaders we're supposed to be. And thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for reading your vision, because that was huge. Like, that's huge for everybody. I thank you for taking the time to invest into all of us. We love you a lot.
I love you guys.
We're so blessed that you got to share with us tonight. I'm just kind of speechless. I'm like fumbling for words. I'm like, I don't even know what to say, because I had a million takeaways, but that was so good, Nikki. Thank you. And I know everybody else is saying
thanks for having me.
So we love you.
All right. Love you too, guys. Thanks for being on.
Place when my hands around your waist, like you're too cool. I don't believe that it's true still. I could drink.